will never let you down. Will it ever get sunny? Oh, I wonder, honey, baby, how you make me sway. You say you will. I'm calling your addicting friend. You say you will, yeah. I'm crossing the obsessive line.
Happy Sunday, all. This is the virtual happy hour. I am David, the producer, and we are doing things a little bit differently today. One, we're doing this on Sunday, which is awesome. Happy to be doing this on a Sunday, as well as usually right next to me, either this side or the other side, is Juliet Miranda, and she is behind the scenes today, and she is going to be manning the chat and talking to all you folks out there and fielding questions for our guests. So happy Sunday, Juliet.
Well, happy Sunday, David, the producer. It's a little crazy being tucked back here in a corner like you usually are.
It's weird to hear your voice and not see you on camera, but we'll get used to that. But today we are super lucky to have on a good friend of the show. He's the guitarist for Firehouse. His name is Bill Leverty, and Firehouse is just an amazing act. I was lucky enough to do a couple of shows with them back in the day. And, you know, these guys have sold millions of albums, have had several hits like Reach for the Sky, Don't Treat Me Bad, All She Wrote, Love of a Lifetime. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, all the hits these guys have had. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up Bill and let's get him on here.
Hey, Dave. Good to see you, man.
Hey, great to see you, Bill. How are you hanging in there during this weird time?
Hey, hanging in, man. It's tough, but you know, breathing air and pumping blood. Just toil.
Exactly. Well, you know, I'm excited to have you, not just for, you know, to reconnect and, you know, chat about, you know, the great days of the past, but the reality is, man, you have a very cool solo project out right now. Matter of fact, this is your fifth solo project. And man, Juliet and I have been listening to Divided We Fall for the last week. And I tell you, it just keeps going in rotation in our house. It is just amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really glad you guys like it. I'm happy with the way it turned out. I'm glad you guys are digging it.
Totally digging it. I mean, it's this eclectic mix of music that, you know, people that know Firehouse would go and listen to this and say, I hear the Firehouse in it, but there's also country influences, swamp rock, I mean, blues, you name it. It's just an amalgamation of all that. And kind of what brought this whole project together?
You know, I started off with one song. And that was kind of a bluesy song. The first song that I recorded for it was called Ace Bandage, and I just released it as a single, which is the way I've been doing it lately. And put out a song, do something else in life. Usually it has to do with the family, or it has to do with 50 to 60 Firehouse shows a year that I've been doing. And so that's keeps me really busy. And then if I get another idea for a song, I'll record it, put it out as a single, and it may take another, 6 months or so before I have another idea that's worth pursuing. Record it, put it out. Once I had 10, I said, well, hey, let's press up some CDs. And so I got an album. So that's kind of how it worked. It wasn't really like, I'm going to go do an album. It was just, let's just do songs. Once I get 10, I'll put out an album.
Was that in relation to kind of when the pandemic hit and it just kind of made sense to do it that way? Or was this just over seriously, way before the pandemic and just the way you wanted to release this one?
Yeah, it was way before. The first song that I wrote on this album was 6 years ago.
Wow.
Maybe 7 years by now. So it was just kind of a spare time thing, and in between the touring with Firehouse and family things that, take priority. I also mixed other bands and I recorded other bands in my studio and did other projects and stuff like that. I'd play solo here for somebody and or whatnot. So that's why it took so long. It wasn't the solo album thing isn't really a priority in my life till I get it done. And then I'm like, wow, I've got this collection of songs here I want the world to hear. So kind guys like David, the producer, have me on his show, and I get to talk about it. So thank you.
Oh, again, my pleasure, and we're thrilled that it's one, that it's out. But I was noticing that you were releasing them one by one, and I'm like, I wonder if this is going to turn out to be an album. Boom! All of a sudden, I see you promoting the album. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So it made perfect sense.
Yeah, 6 years flew by, and the last song is called "Divided We Fall," and that was a song that I struggled with for a long time to figure out what I wanted the song to be. I had the melody, I had the chords, and finally the idea of "Divided We Fall" hit me, and I thought that would be a cool thing to sing about right now.
It couldn't be more timely, right? I mean, it's you listen to the lyrics of that and you treat it with the utmost respect. You're not, putting it on aside, right? It's really about being together, and just all coming together. And I thought that was very cool the way you handled that.
Yeah, thank you. And that's what it really is. It's humanity. It's the world. It's also a relationship between two people and everything in between. United, we all stand tall and strong, but divided we fall. So we got to get together, and we're so much better together. So that's what it's about.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say this several times during this conversation, but you have to go out to Leverty.com. Matter of fact, I have a banner here I'm going to put on the bottom so that you can see it. There you go. Go to Leverty.com. And you can not only get the CD out there, but Bill will sign it for you, which I think is the coolest thing you do for fans, man. That's very cool.
Well, thank you. The guys at PCZero.net who host my website and design it have all these cool features in my website where if you say, please sign my CD, you check this little box, then a little box drops down and you fill in your name in that box. And then it automatically comes to me in a nice little email form, and I can see who to sign whatever they get to. So I like signing them. So I'd love to be able to sign a bunch of them after today's interview.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. So, everyone that's a fan of the show, go out and check out Bill's stuff. It is incredible. I mean, I've been a fan of yours since Firehouse, but your solo stuff is killer. Southern Exposure, Drive, it goes on and on, the 5 different albums, but man, it's solid stuff, man. I love it.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate that.
And this one, Divided We Fall, man, when I saw this, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is a real thing. That besides from Michael Foster, who you have on it from Firehouse, the drummer, of course.
Yeah, he's a monster, just such a great drummer and such a great groove, and he has so much creativity that he added to the songs.
And what a hell of a singer.
Oh, he's a great singer. Yeah.
Oh my God.
We auditioned 20 drummers, and this would have been 35 years ago or so, 1984. He was by far the best drummer. Then we heard him sing, and we're like, whoa.
yeah, you're in. You're not going anywhere.
He's got a great voice.
But also on Divided We Fall, you have one of my favorite bass players in the world, Keith Horn, on it.
Oh, yeah. Keith is a musical genius. I've known Keith for probably 40 years. In Richmond, Virginia, I worked in a music store, and Keith Horn would come in, and everybody that worked in the music store would say, Keith Horn's out back there. Come on, let's go watch him play. And so we'd all, go back there and watch him play and just be amazed. And just the nicest guy. And then the first gig we ever did as we were called White Heat back then, but with CJ, it was for a bass competition in Virginia. And Keith Horn got up and won it. But
no shocker there.
Get up there and just completely tear apart a bass guitar. But the great thing about Keith is that he's such a seasoned musician with exceptional taste and restraint that he plays for the song. And when it's time to fill a hole with a bass lick or chop or line or whatever, he just puts the perfect artistic touch on there. And he's just such a phenomenal musician. So I can't speak enough high words of praise for Keith Horn,
Amazing guy. And I had the opportunity to meet him along the way at a whole bunch of NAMM shows. But what really drew me to him was that he plays bass the same way I do, upside down and backwards. And I'm like, I've never met a professional bass player that played like I did. So it was just like we connected like that. And, you know, we sat in the corner at NAMM and just jammed for like about half an hour. I'm like, this is amazing. This guy's just a genius player.
The only bad thing about that is that I can't learn what he's doing. When I watch him, I'm like, I can't even figure out how you're upside down, you're backwards, your little strings on the top. And I'm supposed to be able to figure out what the heck you just played there. Now, he also plays guitar the same way. And
Right.
Guitar like a monster. He also plays pedal steel. He can play anything, and he sings like a bird. Beautiful voice. And yeah, it was great having him. He also played on my Drive album as well. So I've been wanting to work.
Oh, I didn't realize he was on Drive as well. Okay.
He played on that one, and trying to think if he. Yes. Yeah,
I'm going to go back and revisit that. Just you know, love Keith and his playing. Amazing guy.
Oh, me too. And you know, Keith, when we were young, and like I said, working in the music store, he was in a band called Secrets, and Carter from Dave Matthews Band was in that band. And Keith moved to Nashville and immediately got a gig. I think with Waylon Jennings picked him up right away. Then he was
right.
Then he went out with Peter Frampton for years, and then he went out with Trisha Yearwood for a few years, and played with a bunch of other people. And then I think the last gig he had was Luke Bryan.
Yeah, I heard that.
You know, and as Luke Bryan was blowing up, Keith came back home, and that's when I was like, man, please, can we record? And he's like, oh yeah, let's do it. So that was great. And another guy that I'd known that long was this guy Andre LaBelle, who played drums on 3 of these songs as well. And Andre's really great drummer. He's he played with Josh from Buck Cherry, and he was in Vinnie Vincent's band for a while out in LA, but he's from Richmond also. So it's kind of like getting some Richmond home brothers together. And
yeah, that's very cool. And that's one thing I did notice as well, is with you know, the folks that you play with, you always gravitate to the local talent.
Hey, we got such great guys like that around here, you know.
Yeah, and going back to the other drummer, does anyone really play with Vinnie Vincent for a while? I think those are usually short stints.
Andre has nothing but nice things to say about Vinnie, and I just think that when Vinnie kind of stopped doing it, Andre, you know, realized he had to kind of move back to Virginia, so he did. But yeah, he was out in LA working with Vinnie and a bunch of other cats out there, and
that's very cool.
Really well seasoned drummer as well. Steve Gaddish kind of style.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I can tell you the album is so fluid. It's hard to tell when Michael's playing and he's playing. I mean, there really isn't a distinction besides for just small style technique things, right?
Yeah, they all have their own style and vibe and everything. And it was really kind of a matter of availability on the both of them. And but they're just both great friends and great players. And Keith, of course, having him on there is you know, like amazing. So
if you do another song now, you get another idea, do you package it along with this as Divided We Fall, or would you start then something new at this point?
Just move on to the next.
You're ready to go.
Yeah, go to the next chapter. I think that's the way to do it. Yeah.
That's very cool. And how are you going to support something like this? I mean, and normally I know that you don't do like solo tours to support these, you know, releases. You've done some solo dates though, correct?
Not really. I mean, when I was hanging out with your old friend Bill, I did some instrumental clinics in music stores and stuff, and I did one acoustic gig one time with this buddy of mine named Charlie up in Pennsylvania. But really doing gigs with a side project is not what I'm looking to do. It's very complicated. Number one, because Firehouse, that's my number one priority and my obligation. And I give my commitment to the other guys and our crew and their families that I'm going to be available if a gig comes up. So if I book a gig for a solo performance, then I have to either tell Firehouse, hey, I I'm blocking for this gig, or I have to tell the promoter of that, hey, look, if a Firehouse gig comes up, I'm not going to be able to make it. So you're gonna have to give ticket refunds and all that stuff. And it's painful. So I'd really just rather not do that. And we've all, decided that that's what we want to do in Firehouse, is make Firehouse the priority. So that's what we do.
Well, that's very cool, because I know that there's a lot of other musicians that do take time out, which does create complications for a band that either wants to record or tour. Now, during this period, during the pandemic, I mean, no one's doing anything but promoting things that they put out, right? Or even if they have a new release to put out. So everyone's kind of on hold. How are you treating this time? Are you guys, kind of looking to kind of open things back up at the end of the year, the beginning of next year? What do you see that looking like for you?
Well, two things. First, I got really lucky in that this last song from my solo record was finished right around the end of March. So that made it so I could remix all these songs and then get them out and start talking about it. So that's been a good timing thing, a saving grace, I could say, for this pandemic. And Firehouse, we haven't done a public show since March, but we have one coming up October 1st. So we're
that's really great.
Looking forward to that. That's in a theater here in Virginia called the Beacon Theater. It's a great place. So we're looking forward to that. It's half capacity. It's already sold out. So we are so psyched to get out and play our show again. It's so fun to play those songs.
People are starving for live music right now. It hasn't happened in so long, and I think there's really this pent up demand, and I hope that really shows in your bookings and where that takes you guys, because I was talking to my buddy Ronnie, who's the lead singer for Kansas, and he was telling me that some clubs are even afraid, and our theaters are afraid to open back up because of the insurance purposes of it all. And I'm like, oh, that would be so tough if stuff doesn't open back up.
Well, there are a lot of complications in it, and I can just tell you that Firehouse is ready to rock. We are ready to play. And it seemed like in March, we thought, okay, it's going to be March, maybe April, but we had a good May, June, July, August, September schedule. But, we get close to May, and the promoters in May said, hey, look, the governor or the city council or whatever won't let us do it. Right. So we had to postpone to 2021. So, but we got June, and then it became June, same thing, over to 2021. Well, we got July. It'll all be over by July. Got to July. No. So we really feel like we got to get some good news on this virus, and I think the numbers are looking better now. And if everybody, if science goes the way that I'm hoping and praying that it goes, then we'll beat this virus and we can get back to normal.
Yeah, absolutely. We moved in. I don't know if you know this or not, but Juliet and I moved down to New Orleans, and all the bands down here, and what a musical town this is. I mean, just all down Bourbon Street, all down Frenchman, it's music's, the lifeblood of this city. And all the bands have had nothing to go on. So they've been doing this city always seems to find a way, right? So these musicians would sit on their front porch and put out a tip jar, and there'd still be music in the street. So it's cool that, they could still be out there and make money, but, the pandemic has really put a hurt on the music industry as a whole.
It really has. So hopefully this is the tail end of it.
Exactly. So now you have dates on, and by the way, everyone can go out to Firehouse. It's firehouse.com, correct?
Firehousemusic.com. We wanted firehouse.com, but the fire department beat us to it.
Firefighters, darn it.
They deserve it, yeah, for sure.
So firehousemusic.com. All the dates will be out there. So look for Firehouse, obviously, in your local market. They travel the U.S. every single year. I mean, I see the places that you guys play, and it's a shame that the fest season is just wrapping up. But man, that'll take you right into 2021, and you'll get you out there in the big fest again. That's personally my favorite place to see a Firehouse show is at those large fests.
Oh, thanks. I like every gig we get. I mean, I like small venues because the energy is different and the people are right in your face. And then I like those big festivals too. I mean, I love it all. I think we're really going to appreciate it a whole lot more when we get back out there after missing it for so long.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine that first gig is going to be just amazing for you guys. I mean, CJ, Michael, and Alan, and you on the same stage for the first time in almost a year. That's got to be a little crazy to you.
Yeah, it's great. I miss those guys. We talk all the time. We did get to do a private performance in Wisconsin about maybe a month ago, a little over a month ago, and it felt so good. And everybody had done their homework, and it was just like we hadn't missed a beat. No pun intended. But yeah, it just felt like home. It was great.
That's great. Now, I know that in the early 90s, you guys obviously were huge in the US. And then in the mid 90s, you guys really skyrocketed globally. I mean, the Asia Pacific markets, the UK, I mean, really a lot of places around the globe that you guys just blew up. I mean, do you guys see yourself doing like an international tour going into next year?
We always are available to play anywhere and everywhere. And our booking agent has got everything ready to go. So if all goes as planned, we will be all over the place again, starting in October. We're really looking forward to it, and we really can't wait. So yeah, but we did get lucky in the mid 90s. So we put out our third record, and that was at a time where our music wasn't really in favor. And we had a top 40 hit. I think it was top 30. I don't remember the number. Like it maybe went to number 26 or something like that. But it was called "I Live My Life for You." It was at a time where bands like us really had a tough time getting any airplay at all. But we got a song that resonated with a lot of people. And the record company really didn't promote it here in America, which was kind of unusual, especially since they had a top 40 hit. But they decided that it was difficult to promote a band like Firehouse because of the war they were fighting, with radio and MTV, and they weren't playing bands like us, and it would have been very difficult and expensive for them to do it. I guess is what the difficult equals money.
Yeah.
So they said, "Hey, but your song is really taken off overseas, so go on over there and tour." So that's what we did, and we went over there several times, and then we came back and recorded an album called Good Acoustics, and that album went gold in like 6 countries over there, and we went back over there and toured did another 20 tours overseas. In the meantime, doing some over here as well, but we went to where the gigs were for sure, and fortunately we had a lot of them over there.
That's awesome. It's doing international dates, and I know that you've played internationally in the past, but doing international dates comes with its fun and the excitement of a new kind of an audience, but it's also the hassle of travel and and the gear and just getting all that coordinated in a local level. It's like, oh.
Yeah, so we all joke amongst ourselves in the band. We say that, hey, we play the music for free. We want to get paid for the travel.
It's so true.
We do a lot of gigs that are in difficult places to get to, and it can take you 40 hours from the time you leave your house to the time you get to your hotel. So it's hard when you're sitting in a chair for that long, and 3 or 4 flights to get to the final airport, and then you meet the promoter there, and you go, "Okay, so how far to the hotel?" 5 hours drive. Here's your van. I've been on a plane for like 35 hours or 5 hours van. So yeah, but the payoff is when we play these gigs over there. The people are so wonderful, and they don't know the language, but they know every word to our songs, and they're so passionate about our music, and it's
got to blow you away.
You forget about how much pain your body's in, and you start thinking about how cool this job is.
Right.
That's the icing on the cake.
So, I wanted to get back to Divided We Fall for a moment and talk about, how you're promoting it, because, I've noticed that a lot of artists that, hate to say it, during the pandemic, that they're making even deeper connections with their fans through social media and either their websites or even doing their own videos on YouTube to keep that connection going. How do you see yourself, maybe even with this, with Divided We Fall, how you're going to promote it or promote it differently?
That's a great question. I'm not really a good marketer.
I'll have to talk to you offline then. I got some ideas for you.
But that's a good thing. I need to be thinking in terms of that. I do everything pretty much myself. And, but I try to keep close with my Facebook friends and my Twitter friends who message me, and I answer it all myself. And especially if you go to my website, you can join my mailing list and we can email back and forth. And I do that a lot. That's my priority, is the people who email me through my website. And I've done videos for, I guess, 5 of these songs on this album. As I released the song as a single, if my wife had an idea for a video, we'd shoot the video. And my wife directed and edited all those videos that are on YouTube. So
they look great, by the way.
Well, thank you so much. And she's really good at it. And she never read a manual. She just went in there and started messing with it until it looked good and sounded good. And that's the way she is. She's just really gifted with that. And so, maybe we'll do another video for something. I haven't really had time yet to do it. I just got busy with this, releasing it. And, but I need to probably do another video. That would be fun.
Yeah. And just in a few days, you're going to be back out on the road. Well, that's so awesome. Well, Bill, I can't thank you enough for coming on here to talk about the new release, Divided We Fall. Everybody go out to Leverty.com. It's right up on the screen right now. You can see how to get there. Go out there. It has previews of the songs, too, that you can check out before you pick up the CD. But I'm telling you, it's worth it. Go out there. Get it signed by Bill. And Bill, thank you so much for coming on. And I'm thrilled, for you, for CJ, Michael, and Alan to get back out there on the damn road.
Thank you so much, David. And thank you, Juliet, behind the scenes, for making this happen. It's a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate you guys supporting my release and supporting our band Firehouse. And we hope to see you guys next time we're down in New Orleans.
When you're in New Orleans, you can guarantee you'll see us, buddy.
Great. Be great to see you again, man.
Take care. Have a great day.
Brother.
Bye-bye.